We often think of wealth as a blessing, a sign of success, and a source of comfort. But in the Quran, we are reminded that wealth can also become a test that reveals arrogance, greed, and detachment from God. One of the most striking examples comes from Surah Qaṣaṣ, the Stories, the 28th chapter of the Quran. Here we find the story of Qarun, a man whose immense riches blinded him to humility and faith, and whose downfall became a timeless lesson for humanity. Today, we will explore how wealth, when misused, can become the very reason for one's destruction. Surah Qaṣaṣ is rich in narrative. It tells the story of Moses, from his birth and survival in Pharaoh Dida's palace to his mission as a prophet. But beyond the drama of Moses and Pharaoh, the surah also introduces Qarun, a man from the people of Moses who became infamous for his arrogance. The inclusion of Qarun's story serves a purpose. It highlights that tyranny is not only found in rulers like Pharaoh, but also in individuals whose pride grows from their wealth and status. Qarun, according to the Quran, was granted treasures so vast that the very keys to his storehouses were difficult for a group of strong men to carry. This image paints a picture of unimaginable wealth, an empire of riches that could have been used to uplift his people and support good causes. Yet Qarun chose arrogance over gratitude. When advised by his community not to boast and to use his wealth responsibly, Qarun dismissed their words. He claimed that his wealth was the result of his own knowledge and ability, as if his success was entirely self-made, with no acknowledgement of God's provision. This arrogance became the core of his downfall. The Quran beautifully captures the reaction of Qarun's people. Some admired him and longed for his wealth, saying, "If only we had what Qarun has, he is truly fortunate." These words reflect a natural human tendency to look at material success as the ultimate measure of happiness. But others, those grounded in knowledge and faith, responded differently. They reminded the people that the reward with God is far better and everlasting for those who believe and do good. Their wisdom was a counterbalance to the glitter of Qarun's wealth. They saw beyond the surface, recognizing that worldly riches are fleeting, while divine reward is eternal. The climax of Qarun's story is both dramatic and symbolic. God caused the earth to swallow him and his wealth. In a single moment, all that he had prided himself on, his treasures, his status, his influence, vanished. The ground that he walked on in arrogance became his grave. Those who had once envied him immediately changed their perspective. They said, "Had God not been gracious to us, he could have caused the earth to swallow us too. Oh, indeed, the disbelievers will never succeed." In Qarun's downfall, they saw a warning and a reminder. Wealth is not security, and arrogance is not strength. The story of Qarun offers several profound lessons. 1. Wealth is a test, not a guarantee of success. Qarun's story reminds us that riches are not proof of divine favor. They are a trial, testing whether a person will show gratitude and humility or fall into arrogance and self-importance. 2. Gratitude transforms wealth into blessing. Solomon, another figure in the Quran, also had immense wealth and power, but unlike Qarun, he acknowledged that all he had was from God, and he used his gifts in service of righteousness. Qarun's failure was not his wealth itself, but his ingratitude and misuse of it. 3. The illusion of self-sufficiency leads to destruction. By claiming his wealth came only from his own knowledge, Qarun denied the reality that all provision comes from God. This mindset is not limited to ancient times. It is a danger for every generation. The belief that success is entirely self-made blinds us to humility and compassion. 4. Envy is misplaced. The people who envied Qarun's wealth realized, after his destruction, that true fortune lies not in riches, but in God's mercy. This teaches us to be careful what we admire, for appearances can be deceiving. In our modern world, Qarun's story feels more relevant than ever. We live in societies that often glorify wealth, status, and luxury. Social media amplifies this culture, showing us images of success that equate material abundance with happiness. Yet, Surah Al-Qaṣaṣ warns us not to be deceived by appearances. Wealth can vanish in an instant. What remains is character, faith, and how we use the blessings we were given. The earth swallowing Qarun is a powerful metaphor for how materialism can consume a person. When wealth becomes the center of life, it can bury us spiritually long before it buries us physically. The story urges us to reflect. Do we use our wealth, whether great or small, with gratitude and responsibility? Or do we let it lead us toward arrogance and detachment from God? Closing reflection. The downfall of Qarun in Surah Al-Qaṣaṣ is not just a story about one man's arrogance. It is a mirror held up to every generation, reminding us that wealth without humility is a curse, not a blessing. Qarun's treasures, once envied by many, became worthless in the face of divine justice. His story invites us to reconsider what we value, what we admire, and how we live. True wealth is not measured by possessions but by gratitude, faith, and righteous deeds. When wealth becomes a means of service and humility, it uplifts us. But when it becomes a source of pride and arrogance, it can lead to our downfall. In the end, Qarun teaches us a lesson that echoes across time. Do not let wealth bury your heart, for the real treasure lies not in what we own, but in how we live and in the nearness of God's mercy.